year is 2019, and since that fateful day 30 years ago, the whole entire world has changed, and the superheroes, masked vigilantes, are considered outlaws. And now there is a threat known as the 7th Cavalry, who is influenced by Rorschach, thinks they are above the law. Now, the time of the masked vigilantes has risen among the ashes. I have a question. Can you see and breathe in that thing? Watchmen is a new TV series on HBO, and this is a continuation of the graphic novel of Watchmen. Not necessarily a sequel to Zack Snyder's film, The Watchmen, even though you could say it technically is, because that film right there is the most accurate adaptation of a comic book of all time. But for the sake of the video and for the sake of Zack Snyder haters, we're going to say that this is a continuation of the graphic novel from Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. I'm going to do a recap of every episode of Watchmen that premieres after Sunday. And I'm going to make this a weekly thing, and I'm going to go in depth and talk about certain plot points and certain details, and also give you my thoughts of the episode as well. So I'm going to be going into spoilers. If you haven't seen the first episode, I recommend you get the HBO app or turn on your HBO and watch that first episode. And then after you watch that first episode, come to here and let's talk about it. There's like so many subliminal messages that ties in with our world today. Like in the beginning of the episode, they started off in 1921 in Tulsa, which basically was a depiction of Black Wall Street. And I like the fact that the episode held no punches. It took you right in and gave you the dark nature and visceral comic book edge to it. And I also love the cinematography. It gives you that aesthetic type of style, that grit, and I thought that the background and lighting and cinematography was just amazing in my eyes. So the show takes place in 2019, 34 years after the graphic novel. Now the plot centers around Regina King's character, and she plays Sisterhood, aka Angela Abraham. She works a part of the police department, where the police department wear masks. And it seems like after the events of the graphic novel, these cops have now turned to the point of wearing masks, because apparently this group called the 7th Cavalry, which is basically the interpretation of the KKKs or the Trump supporters. I did like some of the subliminal messages and stuff like that, and the political themes that they added into this series that is symbolic to our times today. And the fact of the matter is that these cops have to wear masks. It basically tells you that it's gotten to a point where the cops have to protect their identities, and if you're a comic book fan, you will understand that concept, the reason why these people have to wear masks in everything they do. Basically, Angela Abraham's trying to solve this attempted murder. And our hero, Sister Knight, who's being played by Regina King, aka Angela Abraham, is trying to solve an attempted murder, trying to figure out who are the 7th Cavalry, who is their leader, where are their base of operations. They're trying to figure out what's going on with that. And also, I did like the dialogue in this show, where you have to pay attention to the dialogue, because most of the dialogue, if you miss anything, you more likely miss some certain plot details of the first episode. There was a few quotes that they happened to mention in like throughout the episode that was brought up again, like to the fact where Regina King's character, Angela Abraham, runs across, passes this older guy who basically tells her, I bet you haven't picked up 200 pounds before. And it seemed like it's nothing, but actually that statement does come back and reference itself at the end of the episode, when this old guy was able to somehow hang Judd Crawford at the end of that episode, which more likely that older guy is more likely the boy at the beginning of the episode that survived the Tulsa attack in 1921. His almost 90-year-old self was able to hang a man, which basically goes back to the introduction when the vigilante hung the sheriff because he was corrupt. It basically ties into the introduction. I like how everything comes around full circle in this episode. Basically, I gotta say that the first episode was very intriguing. Don't know where they're going to go with this, but I did like some of the Easter eggs that they put in this episode 1, like the squids falling down. You know, that was a tie-in to the graphic novel where Ozymandias had to summon a big giant squid. And I guess that was like its children or something like that. There was some mentions of a few Watchmen members, like Dr. Manhattan is still on Mars, the Andrian Voight, who is aka Ozymandias, being played by Jeremy Irons. He is declared dead, but he is not dead. He is actually alive, and he is like located like off the grid somewhere. More likely he's plotting something, because Ozymandias was the main villain in Watchmen graphic novel. So more likely he's planning something to try to kill everyone. And also there was no mention of Silver Spectre or Night Owl. I'm really intrigued. I can't wait for episode 2. And I wonder what kind of role will Ozymandias play in this season. And I wonder if Dr. Manhattan will play like a minor role, or maybe he might influence something a little bit. Silver Spectre and Night Owl are more likely alive in this universe. So I wonder if we will hear any mention of Silver Spectre or Night Owl or going forward. So there's so many things to go with this. Who is that old man, and what does he have, like a special ability, a special power? Because there's no way an elderly 80-year-old man would take down a healthy sheriff. He's just slow and he's in a wheelchair. So I'm really intrigued about what's his backstory. How does the main character, our Sister Night, was able to tie into everything? She's the main protagonist in this series, so I was automatically gravitated towards her. The show was interesting. The show was intriguing, and I can't wait for episode 2. So those are basically my thoughts on episode 1. So what are your thoughts on episode 1? Is there anything I missed? Comment below and let's talk about it. Can't wait for episode 2, and I will have a recap for that. So if you like everything you see and you agree, subscribe to my channel and join me in the Batman family. I will have more Batman-tastic reviews on the way. You have been warned. Till then, ciao.